Hey everyone, welcome to Flip Chart Friday. Bruce from Sequus here. Today we're going to be talking about logins and passwords for everything about your marketing. Imagine that you had someone build you a beautiful new house, your dream house, which I'm sure would look exactly like this. And they built the house, they give you a code to get in the front door, but they didn't give you the key. Essentially, when you build a brand new website and you don't have the login to get into your website, into the hosting, the FTP, we'll talk about all that in a little bit, you really don't own your website. It's like you had someone build you your dream house and you didn't ask for the key. So you want to make sure that you have all of these keywords in a nice, safe place that you can access, that is yours, and if possible, that you own the website, you own your hosting, you own your social, and all of these other things. So to go through the things that you should be paying attention to, make sure you have a login for your website. If it's a WordPress website, you want to make sure you have the login for that. If it's a different platform like Joomla, Wix, something like that, make sure you have the login for those as well, that you're set up as an admin and not just a user. You want to make sure that you have the login for your hosting. Your FTP, which your FTP is File Transfer Protocol. That's essentially where the files for your website live. And that can also sometimes be accessed through your hosting. Either way, you want to make sure that you have the logins for both. And then also your domain registrar. So when you set up your domain, was it you that set it up? Was it your marketing company that set it up? Well, you really want to know who owns your website, because this is one of the most important things. I've seen a lot of situations where, moving from marketing company to marketing company happens a lot. Some marketing companies are really professional, they handle it really well. Some other marketing companies, they get a little upset and they push back. And I've seen companies who own your website, own the company's website, hold it hostage, make you pay more money, or just not give it to you at all. And if you have built your business for 20 years or something like that, and people know your name, they know your website, you have links back to your website, your website has value. It has SEO value, whether that you call that domain authority or page rank. It can be really important. So changing from one URL to another can cause a pretty good dip in your SEO if that happens. So you want to make sure that you own your website and how you can get into it at any time. Of course, your social media pages as well. If you have a social media management company, make sure that you own your Facebook, you own your LinkedIn, your Pinterest, whatever that might be. And then getting into your Google setup. So of course, your Google My Business is a huge component of your SEO. So you want to make sure that you are the owner of that. You have the email and the login, the password for that. If you don't own it, it can be quite a hard process to prove that you're the owner. They'll send you a postcard in the mail. Google has a process set up for that kind of thing, but it can just take a lot longer than you'd like, so you can get it set up the way you want to. And other people can make edits to it if you haven't claimed it. Of course, you want to make sure you claim it and that you own it, so that you can make sure the information's all correct and consistent. Then Google Analytics, knowing what's going on your website, make sure that you're the owner of that as well. Your webmaster tools, your Google AdWords account. This one's a little different. If you're using a pay-per-click company, they might set your account up on their master account, which is pretty typical of the industry. So just make sure that you do have a login, that you're set up, with as much permissions as possible. And then you can also always ask for a downloaded version of your account, so that if you ever do change in the future, you can just set it up again that way. That's always a really good thing to ask for, while the relationship is really good, because once, the relationship starts to flounder or not be as good, it can be a little harder to get that information at that point, and that's when you really need it. So making sure that you have all this before the relationship gets bad is always a good idea. And then of course your G Suite, your calendar, your email and everything. If an IT company set that up for you, make sure that you're the owner of it. And then really, you want to make sure that you're getting anything that represents your brand, relates to your brand, or really is essential to your business. So a few other ones just to keep in mind are, if you use an email marketing software like Constant Contact or ActiveCampaign, make sure that you have the logins for those. An SEO software, some people use SEMrush or WebCEO. the plugins on your website. So if you use WordPress, there are definitely some good plugins that are probably set up on there, like Yoast would be one, or if you use Backup Buddy, something to back up your site on a regular basis. Make sure that you own those as well, because if you leave companies, then you'll lose that license, and then you'll just essentially have to buy it again, but you might lose a lot of data that was already in there. If you have video like YouTube, Vimeo, whatever you host your video on, your customer relationship management software, and then make sure that all of these are stored somewhere securely. So if you have to write them down on a piece of paper, do that. If you have to print them out in a Word document, save them in your notepad, that's all fine. Be aware though that email is not a secure form of communication, so if you send your passwords that way, I'd highly recommend changing them. And then just one extra tip that I want to throw in is make sure your passwords aren't just your business name 1 or something really simple like that. It's really easy for hackers to actually figure that kind of stuff out. And hacks happen all the time actually. They're actually increasing year by year, so you want to keep your stuff secure. Another good tip is LastPass is a great program for this type of stuff. You sign up for it, you put your passwords in there, and no matter where you are, you can access it from any computer, any phone, and you can actually get in and see what your password is for anything. So if you have any questions about any of these, what they are, where you should store them, what you should be looking for, because some of this can be a little confusing, give us a call, let us know. We'll check out, see where everything is, and help you figure it out. That's all we have for this week, so we'll see you next Friday.